And neither of these players dropping a set in either of the first 2 rounds.
What a first point. And if that's any indicator,
15 love.
we're going to see a lot of physical, hard-fought rallies here in this match.
Brengle outlasting Rogers on the opening brilliant point for both. We talk about serving, excuse me. Again, you see second serve in there in the mid-70s.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was going to comment on, because you made that comment that Brengle doesn't have the most powerful serve, but it's not easy to hit anything off of it. That one misses again. Doesn't have a lot of pace, but she gets pretty good placement.
40 love.
Get good depth on the serve, and sometimes it's difficult to generate more pace off of a slower serve, and that's going to be the challenge for Rogers today. It's much easier to take pace from your opponent and then redirect it, use it to create and generate pace on your side. But Brengle's very smart. Doesn't overplay, doesn't give a lot of pace, and that is a solid opening game.
Again, when you don't have a lot of oomph behind your serve, you will be susceptible to getting broken. And Madison Brengle, I thought this was amazing. First 2 matches, again, she won in straight sets. She was broken 6 times. And you're wondering, how is that possible? She broke her opponent, Chanda, 13 times combined in 4 sets of tennis. Amazing.
Yeah, so she broke, for every time she got broken, she broke a couple of times. Shelby Rogers' coach, Ryan Nall, has been working with him primarily since coming back. She was working with Mark Lucero. This is going to be the challenge
Shelby Rogers to serve.
for Rogers, who has more weaponry, who has bigger serve, more pace on her ground strokes.
Love 15.
And Shelby Rogers, 2016, made it to the quarterfinals at the French Open. That's her best showing in a Grand Slam. But the knee issue that cropped up after Indian Wells 2018 really had her questioning her tennis future. Chanda, she was actually up here after having surgery that summer, calling matches with us, and she has said about 6 months after the injury, she wondered, I don't know if I'll ever be able to play tennis again, ever. And really thankful about that perspective now, being able to come back and play.
Yeah, I remember talking with Shelby during that period when she
Love
was
40.
working and doing broadcasting, and you know, she's such a positive person anyway, and an injury like that, the uncertainty, that's the struggle for any player. But you know, it was important for her to remain optimistic about what her chances were. She was in the middle of doing her rehab and just not thinking too far ahead, and I think that's served her well. She's done the work.
And doing what's been required for her. A lot of work to get her ranking back up, and a lot of work needed here to try to avoid getting broken in this opening game, is Brengle, as she's done in the first 2 rounds, applying a ton of pressure to foes' service games.
That's the type of serve Rogers can pull out, get her some free points, and couldn't have come come at a better time. Still facing one more break point against her.
108 miles per hour, about 174 kilometers per hour. Still one more break point to deal with.
Game, Brengle.
And
Brengle leads 2 games to love. First set.
Picks up the break party right where she left off in the first couple of rounds. And has the 2-love lead here on Shelby Rogers.
Madison Brengle is that type of player that you look at and you say, okay, she's not as good as she seems to be when you're playing her, but it's the nuances. It's her understanding of the angles, where she is in the court. That's nicely done by Rogers. Brengle very rarely hits herself out of points. She understands where her positioning is and the adjustment she has to make in her shot. She catches the ball just a little bit late, but she makes it work, and sometimes it can be difficult to read. A couple of good points from Rogers, who's being a little more methodical with her shot selection.
Love 30.
Can't just overhit and overplay. Got to be a little more strategic, and this was perfectly done by Rogers.
Brengle just missed the lob attempt, and she was ready for that, but couldn't secure that half volley.
Love 40.
And again, it was Brengle kind of dictating a little bit with some kind of funky shots, and Rogers not wanting to overplay, almost got in trouble here, but manages to outlast Brengle at the end.
Let for service.
And now Shelby Rogers has 3 cracks to break right back on Madison Brengle.
Game,
Rogers.
Rogers.
Backhand winner. Break at love here
Brengle
for
leads
Rogers.
2 games to 1.
And
First
back
set.
on serve, opening set. Shelby Rogers serving at 1-2 to Madison Brengle. Brengle giving that
15
last
love.
ball a second look. I think she thought it was long.
Yeah, this was really close, but I think it caught the back of the line.
Rogers able to put away the next. If you're wondering, no challenges on the outer courts, just in the stadium courts. The Hawkeye Live computerized system just makes all the calls on the outer courts this year.
Another good point.
15
by
all.
Brengle, working more for placement as opposed to power. Smart strategy against Rogers, who can generate so much pace off of her racket.
Third
Brengle
to
hits the ball
15.
A little bit late, and it's more that she hits it kind of to the side of her, as opposed to a little more out in front that we may be used to seeing, and can make that shot a little difficult to read. She can hit it up the line and cross court, and it can be hard to tell where she's going. good counter to that is what Rogers did on that point. Big
40,
first serve,
15.
and then immediately stepping in, taking ground away, not allowing Brengle to kind of weave her rallies.
Well, it's worked to the tune so far in this game, with an opportunity to close it on this point. Chan, is it just hard to
40,
read
30.
directly off the racket, or is it kind of her body is angled a little bit different, so the way her body's angled kind of deceives you for where she's going to direct the ball?
I think a big part of it is just her contact point. It's just a little bit later than you would maybe expect as her opponent. That's well placed.
Game. Rogers.
And the serve coming through for Rogers.
2 games all, first set.
But, you know, you're in a neutral position and you're maybe expecting a little more cross court, and then Brengle can change direction and go up the line and you won't really see it. Got to pay close attention to the contact point.
Disrupting the timing and rhythm that's so key for so many players. Don't forget usopen.org. Home for point-by-point live scoring, highlights, real-time stats, draws. I got the official tournament site, usopen.org.
That's well done. And Brengle again using her legs. She's been very active
15
with her
love.
footwork since the warm-up. You can really see her focusing on that, and here getting into position, giving herself options. No way for Rogers to read that. Such a smart play. Whipping forehand.
15
taking
all.
away the pace, but getting more extreme spin and placement. That time Rogers
15, 30.
forehand, a bit of Brengle, and backhand is probably the more solid side for Brengle. Couldn't handle the pace from Rogers on that one.
And now Brengle in a
15,
little bit of a jam
40.
here. Shelby Rogers threatening to break her in consecutive service games. And that'll do it.
Game.
Rogers
Rogers.
forges ahead.
Rogers leads 3 games
your
to 2,
opening set.
first set.
Battle of Americans has shifted in favor of Rogers. And hooked wide. And Madison
Love
Brengle
15.
again. Her return game, her ability to break foes, big reason she's standing here in round 3. Right now, Shelby Rogers, in her first 2 round wins, she won about 78% of the points in her first serve. Right now, she's at 44% on her first serve in winning points. That'll help second ace.
15 all.
That percentage in large part because of the first service game of Shelby Rogers just didn't get enough going. Number of second serves. She has been a bit of a different server since then. It's important
15, 30.
for Rogers to kind of get that serve going, but to also dictate with her direction, hitting her targets, using the serve to play for more positioning, and sort of in between that space right now, in a little trouble again on serve. That's much better.
30 all.
Rogers already with a couple of aces, and that point just much more methodical behind the serve.
Madison Brengle just keeps
30-40.
returning balls, making Shelby Rogers play one more, and it was rewarded.
And that's the name of the game for Brengle. And you can see she's able to do a little more with that backhand. She looked like she was in trouble in that point, but was able to turn it around, getting the depth off that backhand wing. She's got another break point.
Brengle tried the high ball game,
Use.
and it did not pay off.
This is the type of match for Rogers where she just has to play very disciplined tennis, and you know that isn't always her game. You know, she is a big hitter, a power player. So far, being just a little more conscious.
Brengle looking again
Advantage,
at another
Brengle.
break chance. She's 1 of 4 thus far. Second look here in this game. Shelby Rogers went to the forehand, and Brengle could not match.
That was good movement
Yes.
by Rogers, because she got a jump on that backhand up the line from Brengle. Kind of took her by surprise a little bit right there, but got over and hooked it just a little bit more. Extra spin, helping to cause the miss.
Advantage, Rogers.
Rogers mixing her serve up there. She'd been going up the tee a few times. Took Brengle by surprise.
Let for service. Game,
was a
Rogers.
struggle, but a successful one for Shelby
Rogers
Rogers.
leads 4 games to
Saves
2.
2 break points
First set.
and now leads 4-2.
Rogers now has won 4 games in a row, and now Brengle needing to stop that momentum a little bit. Needing to hold serve here.
Love 15.
Brengle got to a career high in the top 50. It was 35 in the world in 2015, mid-2015. Earlier this year, had to play ITF events. Try to get those matches under her belt. Coming into
15
this
all.
year's U.S. Open, these were the first tour level wins that she's gotten in 2020, and I think you can kind of see it a little bit in her game. She's in a little trouble here, trying to get back on the board. But she just seems like she's been playing more confident tennis.
15,
The first 2
13.
rounds the way she has, and sometimes those are kind of the intangibles for a player.
Kind of like the way she plays in the game. She just doesn't go away. For
Exactly.
a player
30.
that got her first ITF singles title back when she was 15 and came to the U.S. Open a number of times. Rogers with the authoritative forehand and the chance to break again. Madison
30,
played
40.
for 6 straight years, Chandler. Tried to qualify for Grand Slams and couldn't. 24 times she lost in qualifying from 2008 to 2014. But then she got a wild card to the U.S. Open in 2014, won a round, got her ranking up to the top 100. She hasn't missed a slam since. Right
Game,
now,
Rogers.
Shelby
New
Rogers
balls,
not
please.
missing many shots. She's able to
Rogers
break
leads
Brengle
5 games
and has
to
the
2,
chance
first
to
set.
serve for the opening set.
Love.
Talked a bit about Brengle, getting broken a number of times, but breaking twice as many times as she was broken her first 2 rounds. It's been the challenge in this match because she doesn't have the same inroads on the Rogers serve.
First serve percentage steadily rising for
15 all.
Shelby as this set has progressed.
These players, they've played each other a few times before. There's no real surprises, and Rogers clearly came out with a game plan to not give up too much in terms of her serves. Not allowing Brengle to see as many second serves, especially
30, 15.
in the teeth of some of these games, and you can see how disciplined Rogers has been, not just from the ground, but on her serve as well. Again, a well-placed serve and looking for the first ball.
Well, Rogers donates her first double fault against 2 aces here. Opening set, Brengle has some life, 30 all.
I know we don't have a lot of power up here, but it's amazing how often you say something good about a player's serve and then they hit a double fault. That's been an important shot for Rogers, the willingness to go up the line, not
40,
allow
15.
Brengle to dictate by going back cross court too many times. She was beautifully opening up the court, hitting her target.
Set point. Shelby Rogers
Game on her set. Rogers
is halfway to the
by
round of
6 games to 2.
16 at the 2020 U.S. Open.
Second set. Brengle to serve.
Well, for the first time at the 2020 U.S. Open, Madison Brengle has dropped a set. Shelby Rogers takes it 6-2. Now in this battle of Americans, the 30-year-old trying to respond after tasting a set defeat for the first time here in New York City.
Fifteen love.
Rogers broken in the second game of the set, but then proceeded to break Brengle 3 straight times.
Point as well from Brengle
30
to
love.
start to this service game. Just a little step closer to the baseline towards the end of this rally, and that took the extra time away from Rogers. Brengle's got to try to step up a little bit more often. This is an
40 love.
after losing the last 6 in a row. Just stop the run of games. Stop the bleeding. Make a stand here right at the beginning of the second set.
And like that,
Brengle.
after getting
First
broken
game,
3
second
consecutive times, it's a hold at love for Madison Brengle, who may be thinking, where was that for the majority of set number 1?
Yeah, it definitely, that was how she started the first set, Brengle, winning her service game pretty routinely. She then break Shelby Rogers, but it has been a struggle to get into a lead, a winning position in these games. That was a big change on serve. Maybe now she can take a little bit of that positiveness into this game. Just about trying to put Rogers into more uncomfortable positions. Right now it's been Rogers dictating most often.
Talk about Shelby Rogers coming in here maybe a
15
little
left.
more confident with that big win against Serena Williams in Lexington. Of course, Madison Brengle did that 3 years ago in Auckland, able to take down Serena as well for a career highlight. Tells you about the cutthroat
30
world of
left.
tennis. That helped her ranking, but it wasn't enough to get her in to the main draw of the Western and Southern event, which was here in Cincinnati. She has to try to go through qualifying, and she loses in qualifying and doesn't make the main draw.
Good defense from Rogers until she could step in and get to a little more offensive
40
position
love.
to little bit of the feast or famine nature of tennis, that one week you could have your best week, your biggest win, and the next week you're back, you know, maybe struggling a little bit again, or you've got to put it behind you and move on, and you don't often get a lot of traction from it from one week to the next.
Big serve there from Rogers to seal
Rogers.
the game.
One game
now,
all, second set.
working with Shelby now. I found it interesting, too, afterwards. Shelby talked about what kind of turned it around. She said early on against Serena, she was going for too much. She said, I'm going to start just kind of putting balls back in play and see what happens. And at that point, first tournament back for the women, nobody was really super sharp. Kind of worked in her favor.
Shelby won that tiebreak
Love
with
15.
Serena. That's exactly what she did in the middle of it. Looked like Serena was going to take control and had the lead, had the mini break. Rogers just dug herself out.
Good aggression there from Rogers to go up the line.
Talk about
Love
Cincinnati
13.
then having to go and qualify, and it's disappointing, but again, you just have to use those wins when you get them, and they can carry over maybe 2 or 3, 4 weeks later in terms of your results and your confidence.
15,
And I think
13.
for Rogers, we've definitely seen a bit of that, taking advantage of the opportunity here in this draw and trying to get to the 4th round for the first time.
Well, the big news for her and for both of these
30
women
over.
now, a couple of round wins at least here at the U.S. Open is going to ensure your ranking's going to be pretty good here the rest of the way through 2020.
Let for service.
Rogers. Because of the hiatus tournaments, players will be allowed to have
30,
points
14.
on their records for their rankings, but they can build if they have good results and add points. That evolving ranking, big opportunities here.
Good enough on that first serve of Madison Brengle to get it to deuce. She's only won 9 of 22 points on first serves all night. Backhand finally letting Brengle down. She'll have to withstand another break chance for Rogers.
Rogers just wearing Brengle down, but that was a very physical point. 22 shots. Both players taking a little breather.
Game Rogers.
Now Brengle pops it long.
Rogers leads 2 games
has
to
her
1
fourth
second set.
break
And
of
by 1
serve
set to love.
of the evening. And jumps ahead here in set 2, trying to make it a straight sets victory. Rogers serving again.
Love.
biggest serve of the night for Shelby Rogers at 109 miles per hour, 175.5 kilometers per hour, and that tells you a lot in the winner category.
That's been the big difference in this match. The aggression of Rogers, the additional firepower that Rogers has as well. It's caused a few more unforced errors from Brengle, and that has also worked against her with not enough winners to counter it.
That's good. Again, the Hawkeye Live system has recorded voices to make out calls, and you could get the sense that Shelby Rogers was waiting to hear out, never heard it. Yet with no lines people on the outside, sometimes it's a little delayed. You can't look for that actual lines person call.
That's beautifully played. That's a shot Brengle has not been able to use in this match. That's the first drop shot, and it's because of her positioning just inside the baseline with Rogers a few feet behind. Perfect time to play the drop shot.
That was well sawed off, a beauty. Madison Brengle doing what she can do, and that's be problematic in the return game.
Game Brengle.
Brengle gets it done.
2 games all. Second
a break to get back on serve here in the second.
And you have to love that intensity from Brengle, the fist pump after getting that break. He knows that was big.
Download the US Open app to cheer on your favorite players, track the latest scores, stats, match highlights, player news, and more. It's available in the App Store, the Google Play Store, usopen.org as well.
That's another shot that Brengle has in her tool bag, that forehand slice that not a lot of players can hit just from a rally position. She hasn't been able to throw that in as often because of that pace from Rogers. It's a shot that is a neutralizer, and players aren't often used to seeing it.
Just a
few more errors from the Rogers racket, and Brengle, she's an opportunistic player, will look to capitalize on that. That's well done by Rogers.
30.
Simple overheads, and you can tell Rogers was taking her time, didn't overplay on the first one, played for positioning, then got just a little more spin and angle on that one.
Shelby patting the leg. Handful of unforced in this game, and Brengle point away from the hole. Winner.
Deuce.
Oh, that backhand. Get the sense that Madison Brengle's eyes get really wide when she's got an opportunity
Advantage
to uncork
Brengle.
that side.
Yeah, she can do so much off the backhand. Almost runs around to hit the backhand.
Madison
Brengle.
Brengle
Brengle
falls
leads 3
down
games
the
to
break,
2.
gets
Second
it back,
set.
and now goes ahead.
First set,
3-2. She tries
Rogers.
to square this third round matchup at a set apiece. And that would be a little intriguing for Shelby Rogers if she were to win, and it was Jessica Pegula. They're doubles partners. They're playing tomorrow against the defending champs Mertens and Sabalenka in doubles. Chanda, that would be a little interesting
Love
conversation if that were to play out and you show up for your doubles match.
I mean, that would make for a great tournament for both players. And don't sleep on Jessica Pegula, because she's got a real shot against Kvitova in that match later tonight.
And speaking of really good backhands, Pegula has a very lethal one at times. Shelby finally takes the chance to go down the
15-0.
line, is successful.
Important point there for Rogers, who gets just a little more spin. It's under both of those forehands. That one just catching the line. We were talking earlier about
30,
how
15.
disciplined, Rogers was playing first set, first part of the second set, and it's not easy to maintain that focus and that discipline. Saw a few more unforced errors from Rogers, and that had a lot to do with how Brengle plays, how she lulls her opponents into her style. There you go, another Brengle type point. Just scrambling in the middle of that round,
30.
and throwing the ball up, resetting the point, and then got a little lucky with the net cord, but was ready to jump on it.
Just hooked wide from Brengle.
40,
And Shelby
50.
Rogers, clearly the dictator in this match. 20 winners against 19 unforced for Brengle. 6 winners, 11 unforced, and that's got to be more closer to even, you would figure, for her to have a realistic chance to win this thing.
Game
That
Rogers.
is, again,
3 games all.
that
Second set.
indicator of the type of points Rogers has had to play over and over again. Not easy. She had to win that point 2 or 3 times. the type of discipline that Rogers has been showing throughout this match.
Madison Brengle will make you earn it. 3-all here, second set.
Out. 15 love.
That's one of those
15
matches where if you're Rogers, you just are saying to yourself, just give me a little more pace. In one of these shots, give me a little more pace, something to work with. But Brengle knows her game, and she is very disciplined
15,
in
13.
that, and that's why she's been able to have the career that she's had. She's been able to frustrate players and at times step up and do what it takes to win matches on her own.
She ended last year ranked 94 in the world, 6th straight season, ending up in the top 100, and she's there again in 2020. But now Brengle in a pocket of trouble again.
15,
2 break
14.
points here for Rogers. Shelby's been good as gold tonight, 4 of 5. That's out, and that's a break.
Rogers.
Brengle just missed
Rogers
it
leads 4 games to 3
wide on the
second sets,
backhand, and
and by
Shelby
1 set to 11.
Rogers now is just 2 games away from a trip to the 4th round at the U.S. Open. Who's also dying to get to the 4th round of the U.S. Open for the first time. Sanat Chandarubin, glad to have you along for this one as we head to the middle weekend at the Open.
15 love.
Right now looking on. Shelby Rogers looking fairly comfortable here. Brengle's helped out with a couple of errors. You wonder,
13
after
love.
everything Shelby's gone through, and you get this one to the finish line to go where you've never gone before.
Well, you kind of got the sense after that last game that that was pivotal, and just a little more disappointment in Madison Brengle getting closer to the finish line. If she can't get any traction
40
in Rogers' service
love.
games, and Rogers just kind of closing the door emphatically here these last few points.
Game,
Hold it low for
Rogers.
Shelby
New
Rogers.
balls,
She's
please.
a game away from the 4th round. You got 2
Rogers
Americans
leads
here.
5 games to 3
Two
second
that
set.
have paid their dues, persevered at the lower levels, and come up. 2 that can say that not a lot can, that they've beaten Serena Williams, and 2 that can say that they've been through wild adventures here at the U.S. Open. They've played 2 of the longest matches ever here in New York City. Brengle didn't do enough with that after Rogers kind of just dinked the volley back.
Love 15.
Shelby will take it.
I think Shelby Rogers is giving Madison Brengle a little taste of her own medicine, kind of jerking her around the court, hitting a little bit of an unorthodox shot there. It's like mishit, but it worked.
Brengle just trying to get jump started.
Love 30.
2015, she and Jing Sei played 3 hours and 20 minutes one night. That was, at the time, the longest match ever in women's singles history here. Shelby Rogers and Daria Gavrilova trumped it in 2017. They played 3:33. That was the longest U.S. Open match in history.
40.
But this one may not go much longer. It's match point. Shelby Rogers has 3 of them.
Done.
15-14.
With the grit that she's displayed so often, 2 more to withstand. Oh, beautiful lob from Brengle, and she's still breathing.
30-40.
Match points saved for Madison Brengle.
That last point, you can
Yes.
see Brengle getting a little more authoritative, pushing forward more than we've seen her in the last couple of games. Back is against the wall, and sometimes players relax a little more.
Gutsy went for the swinging volley and got it.
Advantage. Brengle.
It's on that comfortable backhand side. That was sweet. Game point.
Game Brengle.
Madison Brengle.
Rogers
What a
leads 5
roller
games to
coaster
4.
service
Second
game.
set.
Dropped the first 3 points, saves 3
And by
match
1 set to
points,
love.
wins 5 in a row, and will force Shelby Rogers to serve it out herself. It's been a tale of 2 Americans in a quest to get to the 4th round of the U.S. Open for the first time in their careers. Right now, Shelby Rogers is trying to pen the last chapter herself and finish off Madison Brengle in straight sets. At 3 match points in the last game, but Brengle retrieved all of them and got the service hold. Rogers made the right decision but couldn't execute.
Love
It was a
15.
tight volley, and perhaps just thinking about winning this match. Both players trying to get to the 4th round of the U.S. Open for the first time in their careers.
And that's out.
Both times it
Love
was the
13.
right place for Shelby Rogers to be in, up at the net, trying to be aggressive, just overcooking that one.
That one clearly wide, and it's love 30. Big serve.
15-30.
Quickest of the night for Shelby Rogers when she needs it the most.
It's the type of serve that just allows you to take a deep breath and just relax just a little bit more.
30 all.
Keep the feet moving. Keep looking to move forward if you're Shelby Rogers.
Shelby Rogers reeling off 3 straight
40,
points
30.
and now has a chance to close this match again. Shelby Rogers
2 sets to
has
love.
done it
6-2,
2
6-4.
years ago. She says her career might have been over after knee surgery. It is alive and well. Rogers onto the
Well,
fourth
she is
round of
moving
the
into the
U.S.
fourth
Open
round here at
for
the
the
U.S.
first time in
Open.
her
Shelby
career.
Rogers.
6-4 over Madison Brengle.
How satisfying this must be for Shelby Rogers. You can see it on her face, hear it in her reaction. And she had to battle a bit at the end, not closing it out when she was up love 40 on Bringle's serve, but coming up big down love 30 on her own serve, reeling off 4 straight points, and it was the poise, the discipline of Shelby Rogers throughout this match. Clear in terms of her strategy and how she wanted to dictate. And Madison Brengle, who's had a fantastic tournament, taking out the 19th seed in her previous round, she can hold her head high because she fought and battled. She so often does in her career, but tonight, Shelby Rogers had all the answers.